Just an unforgettable moment in the White House today as our nation honors a Tennessee Valley war hero.
That was quite the moment there. He is being recognized for his courage, strength, and sacrifice.
Less than 2 hours ago, retired U.S. Army Captain Larry Taylor was awarded the Medal of Honor by President Biden.
The Local 3 team made the journey to D.C. to cover this incredible event. Greg Glover and Jemiah Beatty are both outside of the White House this evening.
And Greg, let me turn to you first. Hey, you've seen a lot of history in your time, but nothing quite like this.
Nothing quite like this, you're right, David. Among the honored guests in the East Room ceremony today was Mr. Taylor's wife, Toni, and also Sergeant David Hill, who's now 75 himself. He took on the task 7.5 years ago to prove to the government that, yes, Larry Taylor's actions in 1968 in Vietnam were worthy of the nation's highest honor. And in the words of President Joe Biden, they were. The president said, quote, "He rewrote the fate of 4 families for generations to come. That's our nation at its finest." Also in attendance in that ceremony today were several other recipients of the Medal of Honor, and those persons reminded us that these men and women are not just faces on museum walls or their heroic deeds stories in textbooks, but their lives and what they've done for this country are going to be used for generations to inspire future soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines who defend our country. Here's what the president had to say about that.
In a few days, young soldiers about the same age as Larry was during the dark night in Vietnam. They'll arrive at Ranger School. Like all of us today, they're inspired by his story, and they will be. But how? By how he refused to give up, refused to leave a fellow American behind, refused to put his own life above the lives of others in need.
Captain Taylor, now 81 years old, still looks great in his Army dress blues there. Sergeant Hill, forgot to mention, Sergeant Hill is the last surviving member of that 4-person team that then Lieutenant Taylor rescued that night northeast of Saigon in Vietnam. Mission accomplished. Sergeant Hill, today, another member of the Medal of Honor fraternity crowned. This one, another person from the Tennessee Valley, Larry Taylor. Live from the White House, Greg Glover, Local 3 News.
Thank you, Greg, for that live report. Well, there are prestigious standards that must be reached to be considered for a Medal of Honor award. The deed performed must have been one of personal bravery or self-sacrifice, so conspicuous as to clearly distinguish the individual above his comrades, and must have involved risk of life.
The act of valor must be while engaged in action against an enemy of the U.S. and while engaged in military operations involving conflict with an opposing foreign force.
And while assisting allied foreign forces in an armed conflict where the United States is not directly involved.
Well, certainly Captain Taylor fulfilled those standards through his heroic actions in Vietnam. Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly attended today. He's proud of our local hero.
Very, very proud. It's a very proud moment for Chattanooga. I mean, we're lucky to have the Medal of Honor Museum here in Chattanooga and a number of Medal of Honor recipients from the area over the years.
And several other state and local officials attended today's ceremony in the East Room of the White House as well.
We're continuing our coverage of Local 3's Jemiah Beatty. She caught up with many of our Local 3 lawmakers. Jemiah, what can you tell us about that?
Hi, Latrice, David. We're outside of the White House where that ceremony wrapped up, and a lot of people are just proud. There's a lot of pride and excitement to be able to be here in Washington, D.C. and witness Captain Larry Taylor receive the Medal of Honor. Now, Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly and County Mayor Weston Wong and other state leaders have prioritized being here today to represent the city that Taylor comes from. Vince Butler of the Chattanooga National Medal of Honor Heritage Center says Tennessee has strong ties to the Medal of Honor. Taylor becomes the 33rd Tennessean to receive a Medal of Honor and the 6th Medal of Honor recipient from Chattanooga. Here's what he had to say about this legacy.
Chattanooga is the birthplace of the Medal of Honor. Not many people realize that, but that heritage started in Chattanooga 160 years ago with the very first medals.
The Chattanooga native and retired Army captain now joins an esteemed society of individuals who rose above the call of duty to save lives. This day couldn't come soon enough for people who've rallied around Captain Taylor for years, upgrading his Silver Star to that Medal of Honor. It's been a pleasure, again, covering it all here in Washington, D.C. Reporting live, I'm Jeremiah Beatty.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Well, Captain Larry Taylor will be welcomed home with a parade on Monday. You can see the parade route on your screen. It will begin next Monday at 11:30. It starts in front of the Reed House on MLK Boulevard and ends in front of the Medal of Honor Heritage Center after traveling on Market Street. Our crews will be out there and will bring you updates on Monday.
3,335 Medals of Honor, or perhaps that's 3,535, have been awarded. Those awards have gone to 3,516 members of the service, meaning 19 have received 2 Medals of Honor. Captain Taylor brings the number of living recipients of the medal to 66.
The Congressional Medal of Honor Society has created a website to feature the stories of sacrifice of each recipient. You can learn about each of the heroic veterans online. We'll have a link to that on our website.
And we'll have more from Washington, D.C. this evening as we honor Captain Taylor.
Okay, you can stay updated by following us on air and online.